Alright everybody, I am super happy to be making this video today because it is a complete beginner's calisthenics program, and I'm going to show you everything you need to know: the workout schedule, the format, the exercises and progressions, everything, and I'll even demonstrate it for you. Alright, so let's dive in. Alright, so let's start off by looking at the workout schedule. Okay, I recommend 3 days a week for your resistance training. The reason why, if you take a look, is that you have days off in between, right? At least 1 day off, sometimes 2 days off on the weekend, if you do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of schedule. The reason why I recommend that is because when you do resistance training, your muscles are going to get sore, especially as a beginner, okay? And your central nervous system, which is your brain and your spinal cord, and the pathway where they're sending neurons down to your muscles to fire your muscle fibers, your central nervous system also gets exhausted. It's taxed by these workouts. So it's important that you have days off in between to let everything recover. Now notice here that I say full body circuit on these 3 days. And I'll explain that in more detail in a little bit. But basically, you're going to be working all your muscle groups and in circuit fashion, meaning you're going to do the exercises one after another and then take a big rest. And the reason why is, as a beginner, you have this really unique ability to burn fat and gain muscle simultaneously. And circuits are great for that. Now, this doesn't mean that on the other 4 days of the week, you're just, sitting on your butt watching TV, playing video games or whatever. I recommend you keep active. I call those active rest days. And I recommend going for a walk or a jog, all right? Especially if you have extra weight to lose and you want to shed some extra pounds, do some cardio on those days. I like to jump rope for cardio. I love jumping rope. You can do yoga, you can do stretching, mobility training. I also like to do a lot of handstand practice on my off days. All right, I practice handstands every day, but the active rest days, I really do a lot of skill training. So this is just an example: the Monday, Wednesday, Friday for your full body circuits, and the other 4 days, being active rest days. But you can move that around however you want. If Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday would work better for your workouts, then that's cool. I mean, just make sure to space out those 3 days so there's at least 1 day off in between each. Now let's take a look at the 4 main movements you're going to be doing in your circuit workouts, okay? And notice I said movements and not exercises, because the exercises will vary as you make progress. So the 4 movements are pull, push, squat, and hinge. Pulling works primarily your back, your biceps, and your rear deltoids, right, the back of your shoulder. Pushing primarily works your chest, your triceps, and your anterior deltoids, or the front of your shoulder. Then you have squatting and lunging. That's going to work your lower body, your thighs, like your quads and hamstrings, your calves. And then what I call hinging, like hinging at the hips. It's going to work your core. Now, planking would also be in the hinge category as well. But really, just think of these 4 movements: pull, push, squat, and hinge. And that's really all you need to do when you do these circuits. So in your workout, you're going to have 1 exercise for each of these main movements. And you're going to do all 4 of the exercises in a row with minimal rest and then take a break. That's what circuit training is all about. So you're going to do a pull exercise, go straight to a push exercise, and then a hinge, and then a squat, and then take a breather, like 1 to 2 minutes of rest, even 3 minutes if you need it, however much that you need, and then you repeat the circuit. One thing I want to mention real quick about this slide: don't worry about this guy doing pull-ups right here. I know as a beginner that you can't do pull-ups. That's not a beginner exercise. I'll show you progressions like body weight rows and stuff like that to build up to pull-ups. Okay, so what order do I recommend doing the exercises in? Truth is, it doesn't really matter. You can do them in any order you want, but I do have a recommendation. I recommend that you do your pull and push separate from each other. Don't do them one after another. So those 2 upper body exercises, separate them somehow. And in this example, I'm saying do your pull exercise first, then your squat second, push third, and then core exercise or hinge fourth. But you can break them up and move them around however you want. I just recommend keeping the 2 upper body exercises separate. All right, and real quick, let me explain just the overall format of a workout. You want to start off with 2 minutes of warming up. I like to do jumping jacks because you're moving your arms and legs, warming up your joints. but any cardio would do. If you want to jump rope, do burpees, mountain climbers, whatever you want. After the 2-minute warm up, your heart rate will be up and you can start your main workout. That's the circuits. All right. So remember, I recommended like pull, squat, push, hinge, but you can do any order you want. So you do your first circuit of 4 exercises and then rest 1 to 2 minutes or longer if you need it. After the rest, you do your second circuit and then you rest. Third circuit, rest. Fourth circuit, and then you cool down. Now for the cool down, you can just walk around, walk in place, whatever. Go to the kitchen and make your post-workout, your breakfast or whatever. Anything will work. Just don't sit down on the couch, okay? Like you want to let your heart rate come down gradually and safely. And last thing I want to mention is you don't have to do just 4 circuits. If you want, you can increase the volume, 5, 6 circuits in a workout. I'm not trying to brag here, but I've gone as much as 10 circuits. I don't recommend it. I was sore as hell the next day, but just showing you, you can really increase the volume here if you want to. All right, so that's the program in a nutshell. I'm gonna go change and then demonstrate the exercises and a circuit for you. All right, first we're looking at pull exercises. For the first exercise, get underneath some dip bars and do bent leg bodyweight rows. Notice my knees are bent for less resistance, and I recommend building this up to 10 reps and then moving on to straight leg bodyweight rows. Straightening the legs will increase the resistance and make them a little harder. Then you'll want to jump up into the top position of a pull-up and slowly lower down, doing pull-up negatives. If you're afraid to jump up and you're afraid your pull-up bar might come off your doorway, then you can always use a chair or step stool to get your chin above the bar. Once you can do 5 slow and controlled negatives per set, it's time to thread a resistance band over your pull-up bar and through itself like this. And then what you can do is have your resistance band dangling from the pull-up bar so you can step in it. With your feet inside the band, now you have some assistance to pull you up and help you with pull-ups. So you're doing assisted pull-ups. Build that up to 10 reps, and then you should be ready to move on to the real deal and do legit pull-ups. And once you build up to 10 pull-ups per set, you're no longer a beginner at that point. Okay, now for squat exercises. To start things off, do a basic half squat, which means going down so your thighs are almost parallel to the ground. Now, our thighs are pretty strong, so I recommend building these up to at least 30 reps per set before you move on. It's a lot different than pull-ups and push-ups. Next, you want to work on the full squat, which is when your thighs go below parallel to the ground, so your butt is nearly touching the floor. This is great not only for building strength in your thighs, but also for improving flexibility. Now, if you want, you can also add in a calf raise by standing on your tippy toes at the top of a squat. This is a great way to work your whole leg when you're doing squats. Once you can do 30 reps of the deep, full squats, then it's time to move on to a plyometric or explosive version of squats. These hop squats are great because the explosiveness adds more resistance. And don't forget about lunges, which are another great lower body exercise. Lunges are good if you want to put extra emphasis on your hamstrings on the back of your thighs and the glutes in your butt. Once you build those to about 20 reps per side, it's time to switch to an explosive or plyometric version of those as well. These switching lunges are a really good workout, cardiovascularly and for strength. And now moving on to push exercises. If you're an absolute beginner to push-ups, I recommend starting off against the wall. Because you're standing in front of a wall, you're vertical and gravity's not really working against you, so this will teach you proper form, but with very little resistance. Once you can do 10 reps against the wall, start finding elevated platforms like staircases and couches that you can do incline push-ups against. Build up to 10 reps with those, and then move to the floor with standard push-ups. And of course, once you're doing 10 reps or more with push-ups, you can move on to diamond push-ups, which I have an entire tutorial on if you want to check that out. And there's other advanced variations like these archer push-ups, which I also have a tutorial for. And lastly, let's look at hinge exercises. For starters, lay on the floor and just do lying tucks like this. With legs extended, tuck your knees in towards your chest. Build that up to 10 or more reps, and then you're ready to start doing lying leg raises. These will be much harder and they'll take some more effort to get used to because they're really engaging the hip flexors. But stay persistent with those and I promise you'll get them. Build them up to 10 reps and then you're ready to move on and start working on hanging leg raises. And I have an entire tutorial video on hanging leg raises. I highly recommend you check that out because doing these movements hanging from a bar is a lot more challenging than doing them on the floor. Now, finally, let's look at what an example circuit looks like. So I start off the circuit with a pulling exercise, getting underneath my dip bars and doing straight leg body weight rows. I use a pretty fast tempo for the reps, about 1 second up, 1 second down, and I rep until failure or until I can get 10 or more reps in a set. I complete my 10 reps and then I step out of the body weight rows, out from underneath the dip bars, take a quick breather to just move the dip bars out of frame, and remember to rest as much as you need, and then I go straight into my squats. Now remember, you can start off with standard squats, half squats, full squats, whatever. I'm doing hop squats because I've been doing these workouts for a while and I wanted to make sure it was challenging enough for me that you can see how out of breath I get. So I do these explosive squats, as many reps as I can. I think I did somewhere around 15 or 20 and I started to get pretty winded and just feeling like I was running out of gas, so I stopped. Take a few deep breaths and I go straight to the floor for my push exercise. Check that I'm in frame and off I go, doing standard push-ups. Again, remember I'm using a quick tempo of about 1 second upwards and downwards, and for upper body and hinge exercises I aim for 10 reps. That's my goal. So once I reach 10 reps or failure, I come out of the push-up position right down to my back and I'm ready to do a hinge exercise. In this example, I'm doing lying leg raises and just showing you the tempo. I still try to do it pretty fast like the other exercises, alright? And again, aiming for 10 reps or the best you can do until you reach failure. One thing I really want to emphasize is to pace yourself throughout the circuit. So between exercises, if you need to take some extra time, like 10 or 15 seconds to catch your breath, that's fine. The goal here is to keep your heart rate up, not hurt yourself, right? It should be challenging, but never painful. So you should be nice and tired when you finish the circuit. Take a couple minutes, I recommend at least 2 minutes when you're starting out to catch your breath. And once the rest is over, repeat that circuit and aim for 3 more times for a total of 4 circuits. And then your workout's over. Walk it off with a cool down. And don't forget, as you make progress, you'll build strength and endurance, and you can start doing more challenging exercises. Like here for my pull exercise, I'm doing tucked front lever pull-ups, and you can do tuck jump squats, right? The tuck jump here really makes it a lot more explosive and challenging. You can do explosive push-ups, like these clapping push-ups I'm doing right here, and you can even move on from hanging leg raises to inverted leg raises. There are tons of possibilities, and I highly encourage you to get creative with your exercises. The beginner routine I shared in this video is exactly what I used to start my calisthenics journey a couple years ago, and since then I've built a lot of strength and learned some really cool exercises. So let me assure you that the program is effective, and if you follow it, you'll build up strength and endurance in no time. As you build strength, if you want to learn how to start doing split training so you can focus in on specific muscle groups and movements and start unlocking cool moves, make sure you subscribe to my channel minus the gym, because that's what my channel is all about, just body weight fitness and sensible nutrition. Thanks so much for watching, and if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and share it. That really helps me out whenever you do that. Alright? Talk to you later.